back to the Holio Cornhole Boards series here on the All-American Sim Racing Network for the All-American Racing League. In the booth with me tonight, I'm Peter Terrio. In the booth with me is Christian Delgado and Nathan Christensen. Practice is rounding up right now. We're going to hop into qualifying. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right, just really excited about this Las Vegas racing, these Xfinity cars from these practice time. It seems like a very competitive field tonight.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. The top seven all within half a tenth of each other, top eight within a tenth. So very close times, like you said. How are you doing tonight, Nathan?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for making it out another week. And like you said, time's very close in practice, so we'll get qualifying underway, and we'll see how the field shakes out for the starting line.
Yeah, right now drivers getting out to begin their out laps, and they'll come to the start finish line. You see Kyle Purcell on your screen right now. Has been running pretty good these past couple of weeks, and now he's looking to get one done here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've been kind of on our desert swing, I guess you could say, Phoenix last week, and now we're here at Las Vegas. On his first lap, Kyle Purcell rolls it out of the top of the corner, steps the back end out. That's something these drivers are going to have to be really careful of. While it is, it's not too hard to, the times are close, so drivers obviously have a hold of it, but they do seem to have, these cars really like to struggle around this track a little bit. But Kyle Purcell, top of the charts right now, 30.71, fresh off of his win at Phoenix. And his brother is going to be in behind him here as Purcell runs down the second lap. Second lap done for Kyle Purcell. Gonna stay top of the charts, obviously, but now other drivers starting to get their laps in. Lorfano second, but now Sean Purcell goes to the top of the charts, a 30.61. Some drivers yet to get laps in. Jeremy Eggman getting his first lap started just right now. Rodriguez third quick. And some drivers, Don Manning hasn't gotten a lap in yet. Tyrone Tyrone has gotten a lap in. Johnny May has not. So 3 drivers yet to qualify, and then we will have our grid set. Eggman finishes his first lap, only 7th quick right now. He's going to need to improve if he wants to start a little higher up, but not going to be too bad if he ends up starting, 7th. We got a smallish field, not bad turnout, but start qualifying not too well is not going to be the end of the world for these drivers, especially with how close lap times were in practice.
Yeah, definitely. And also when it comes to, we have about, 10, 15 cars, so definitely not that hard to get up there and race get back up there and get that track position back, especially on these restarts.
Yeah, second lap out for Eggman. He's going to improve lap time wise, but not position wise. So he's going to stay 7th quick. And now we sit around and wait. Johnny May, Don Manning yet to go out. I think Don Manning did go out, but then he ended up spinning the car. I saw something saying he went off track. So I believe he might have just reset and is going to wait maybe a little bit. We'll see though, as like I said, it's just kind of sit around and wait right now as we have around a minute left here in qualifying. And then we will go on to 117 laps. 117 laps here in the all-in 175. So we're gonna get ready for that one, and should be an absolute blast for this one tonight. Vegas produces great racing across all 3 top series and top cars in the series. And this is no doubt going to be one that's going to be fun to watch. These Holio cars always put on a great show. Always a driver's car that they have a lot of unique characteristics about them that make them kind of hard to handle. But now we're really going to see how these drivers are going to be able to handle it, especially with how close they might be judging off practice times. But looks like maybe this is going to be what the field's going to be set for, because 20 seconds left, not going to be enough time for anybody to go out and get laps in. So looks like Sean Purcell is probably going to be on your pole position here. And you see on your screen right now the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, all the conditions for tonight. And as we get ready to grid up, these drivers are going to have to fight through those conditions. 81 degrees outside here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And, I mean, these drivers, they're going to have to fight a high track temp. Even with the nighttime, it can still get pretty hot. So they got to just be careful of that. And I think that's what's going to be most exciting to see, is how these temperatures affect these Holio cars around here.
Yeah, definitely. On top of those high temps, the mile and a half in these Xfinity cars, tire saving is probably going to be key when it comes to having something for the long run with a smaller field than we're used to in the trucks in the Cup Series. Probably not a whole lot of cautions going to happen, so we're expecting probably quite a few green flag runs. So we'll see how well these drivers can save those rear tires.
Yeah, and as you see up on your screen right now, the grid order, Sean Purcell is going to be starting on pole. 30.618 is going to get him quick time here and allow him to take that pole position for this race. And then Kyle Purcell is going to be starting second. Juggles Rodriguez is going to be starting third. David Lorfano fourth. David Hara fifth. Looks like Larry Garn's going to be sixth. Jeremy Eggman seventh. Tyrone Yo Jr. 8th. Don Manning 9th was his little mishap in qualifying. And Johnny May 10th. Look for that back row to be making moves here early, as they were quick. Just like, a lot of these guys were really quick, close together. And those two in the back, they were within 0.2, maybe. I think it was 3 to 0.2 of the guys in front. And look for them to be making moves. But unfortunately, it looks like Johnny May did not get on the grid. So Don Manning is going to be the car that you're going to want to watch to charge up to the front here early.
Yeah, very surprised to see how close these practice times was. So, like we said, some drivers had a little bit of mistake in qualifying, but that's not going to be the case hopefully in this race. Everybody's going to be kind of bunched up, at least for this first round, and see who can kind of lead this pack.
And the pace car are rolling them around the 1.5 mile surface here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then that truck's going to make the hard left into the pit lane. It's going to be 2 Purcells on the front row. We've seen this already multiple times this season. This time Sean Purcell is going to get to lead the duo down. He didn't even know if he was going to be able to race tonight, but ended up having that luxury. And the green flag's going to wave for the first time today. 117 laps are underway at Vegas. Kyle Purcell catches the wall. Around goes David Hara. Larry Garnes as well. Big crash. Multiple cars around. Sorry, not Hara Lorfano. I apologize. That was David Lorfano, not David Hara. But I think that was the back end not gripping up coming out of these corners, and we had a rollover. I think Larry Garnes went up and over.
That's what it seemed to be like. Just product of these cold tires and these Xfinity cars, they're so unpredictable. Unfortunate for those guys involved in that first wreck. Having to use that precious fast repair up, but that's just a product of racing at these 1.5 mile tracks with these cold tires. Just looks like Lorfano and Larry Garnes just simultaneously loose off the corner.
Yeah, that was that was just kind of everybody following the car in front of them into the wall. Purcell hit it, Lorfano hit it, and if you look farther back, obviously Larry Garnes ends up hitting it, Donald Manning hits it. 4 or 5 cars hit the wall right there, and obviously it went worse for David Lorfano and Larry Garnes than it did the others, but, Larry Garnes had a heck of a couple of these guys had a big hit. David Lorfano had like a Jeff Gordon level hit to that inside opening, and I mean that's a bad one. And then Larry Garnes catches the wall and goes upside down. That's a wild wreck here on lap 1.
Yeah, I think for this series, that's the first time I've ever seen that many cars out in one lap just be that completely sideways. Hopefully, they can, uh, figure out how these cars drive on these cold tires and can kind of get their head on straight again and you know uh, get this race over with.
Yeah, and I mean Larry Garnes back out on track now, but I would assume fast repair has been taken for him. That car looks brand new. Lorfano's in the pits right now. I'm assuming he's gonna take his fast repair, but it doesn't look like he may have had to tow. So we'll see how that ends up playing out for him. But Kyle Purcell has a lot of right side damage, and we're gonna see how that plays out. Your outside pole sitter, lap 1 has got more damage than the majority of the field at the moment. So he's gonna have to work with that and figure out how that's gonna make his car handle here.
Yeah, definitely. Kyle definitely didn't get as much damage as like Lorfano or Larry
Yeah.
Garnes would. So definitely gonna try to take a swing at it and not use up that fast repair and see how the car drives and uh, listen to the team communication. He's not gonna use it, and if he has the engine damage, he'll come back down and get that fast repair done.
Yeah, and something I was hearing is that I don't think there's any tire sets for the race. So I heard some of the drivers mention that. So I'm not. So that I think will be kind of out of a strategy play. Tire sets, not gonna have to worry about those as much, which means it's gonna be fuel strategy and managing that damage. That's what's gonna be really important for these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Drivers were asking if maybe there was an honor roll that they'd have to fulfill, and I believe that race control told them, not to worry about it, just because it's so hard to manage that
Yeah.
when there's green flag pit stops going on. Like if the driver could be sneaky and get an extra set in if they wanted to, so they just told them not to worry about it, and whenever they feel like they need tires, they're welcome to come and get them.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get ready to go green here for the second restart of the day. Christian, you want to lead them down?
I sure can. As the pace hard goes in, it's going to be Kyle Purcell and Juggles for leading them down as they're green. Sean Purcell gets an early jump on Rodriguez as David Harris going to go side by side for second, with Jeremy Eggman trying to peek his nose in for third. Sean Purcell clears the top 2 by solid 4 or 5 car lengths as Hera and Rodriguez side by side for second. Eggman close and third battle for the race between Don Manning, Kyle Purcell, and Mill.
Right now, Jeremy Eggman, remember that last week out, his debut race, put on an absolute great run. Unfortunate kind of pit stop, cold tires caught him off guard, and he probably did not quite get the finish that he could have gotten, but still a really good run from him. But I gotta say that 02 car looks like it's got a little bit of damage on the left side, pretty much all the way down the door to the front fender, as Juggles catches the outside wall. Seeing many guys struggle with the exit of turn 2 here. We'll see how that seems to bite them later in the race.
And definitely, I think for these drivers, I think, it's good right now until you get these tires warm up to kind of take it a little bit more easy, as you saw all those drivers get so sideways and hitting the wall and everything. Maybe get a feel for the car a little more, and then once those, you get a little bit more heat into the tires as Tyron Yo catches the outside wall. Once you get those heat in those tires, maybe you can push a little bit harder to see how much you can push this car.
Yeah, right now battle is on for 4th position between Juggles and Kyle Purcell. Remember, Purcell involved in that last one. Juggles caught the wall just a lap ago in this run, and he is starting to drop. We're going to see how that damage really affects him. But back up front, David Hera is trying to close on the back bumper of Sean Purcell, and I think he's having just a little bit of success.
Yeah, definitely. I think at these 1.5 miles, these Xfinity cars do get just a little bit of draft. Not enough like in a truck where it would the draft would help a car get to the person in front, but I think there is just a little tiny bit of draft. Go side by side and Sean Purcell. And Eggman's going to take advantage of Sean Purcell going wide, and he's going to try to play second.
Yeah,
So
I think... Go ahead.
Definitely, I think the draft has a little bit of something to do with, at least staying behind that car in front of you.
Yeah, it looked like Purcell's car. I don't know if the air just got taken off of it when Hillbilly went up to the door of him, but it really stepped that 04 out. Now it's going to put him, like you said, into the clutches of Eggman, and now his brother Kyle Purcell looks to the outside. We might have a 3-wide battle for second, but don't look too far back because Donald Manning and Juggles Rodriguez have also closed in on this one.
This is exactly what that 15 wants, is seeing them side by side for second and third. I mean, that just gives him the perfect opportunity to kind of pull the lead away from these guys. The more these people are battling for second and third and staying side by side, the more of a draft it's going to give him.
Yeah, it looks like Sean Purcell's Ford Mustang is struggling a little in the center. It does not want to stay down there, and it's really hurting him on the exit there. He just got passed twice on that one lap, and now Manning is going to look to the outside of him. So, you know, I think he's really struggling. Maybe has a little bit of damage. I'm not sure exactly where, or maybe just that car is not driving how he needs to right now. But David Harris pulled out to a big gap. But, you know, Christian, we got to think about tires. Is he burning his tires up too much? Because it's easy to do in this Holio car.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the case, you know, with the no tire rolling this year. It's maybe it promotes these drivers to burn them up a little bit more because, you know, you just go down and get a fresh sight. There's not, like, any limit on them. So maybe see Kyle Purcell get around Eggman for second.
Yeah, and Manning's closing in on this battle, too. I definitely agree with that. But, you know, if we get a long green flag run, no one's going to want to pit more than they have to. To the inside goes Manning of Eggman underneath his teammate there. Couldn't quite make it work. Kind of sent it in and oversent it and lost the nose of the number 92, but he's going to get another run at him here in just a couple laps.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to Sean, I'm almost wondering if he doesn't have damage, if he's trying to hyper-save and try to save his stuff for the long run. And I also noticed that he's very unwilling to go to that outside where some of these other drivers are. He's really stubborn and trying to keep it on that long lane, or at least into the middle lane, maybe trying to save tires a little bit more than some of these other drivers.
Yeah, and that could be a way of saving. You know, if you slow that car down enough where you can ride that white line and you don't hear the tires squealing, then, you know, obviously you're not burning your tires up as much as some of these guys who are ripping the top and the throttle a lot more, making that, you know, the torque go to those rear wheels. I mean, that could be a way that he's saving. And honestly, here at Vegas, the bottom, in some ways, the top is not as good to save. It actually is not beneficial, so it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. I remember in the Cup car here, the top was not the best way to save. It actually was around the bottom, so I don't know how it translates to these Holio cars, but they drive relatively similar in some ways, so looking to see how that happens. But Donald Manning's back under attack. Jeremy Eggman's back under attack from Donald Manning.
Don's showing some really good pace this race right now. Started from the back and battled for third right now.
Yeah, literally last car that gridded up, and now he's, like you said, looking for underneath his teammate for third. Got to keep it off his door. Nearly contact. Clean side-by-side racing, and actually I think Eggman reeled in Kyle Purcell there a little bit. He might get a chance to make a move on that number 16 Supra.
No clutch noise for his Fords are looking pretty fast today. Catching one of the favorites day in and day out at Kyle Purcell, so very impressive run by those two early on.
Yeah, and you got to think about the presence of Ford in AARL. We hadn't seen it too much up until this season. Now there's actually multiple teams running it and throughout all series, so that's something that, you know, as the broadcasters and as the commentators, and I know the league owners are also happy about that, seeing that diversity in manufacturers. And like you said, these Fords are really showing up today. They seem to have a lot of speed.
Yeah, definitely. If you see these three cars battling for second and just not getting away from each other, looks like Kyle's starting to maybe gap just a little bit, just like a car length every couple of laps, just because of the two Fords right now going side by side. As Eggman is wisely lets Don have it and gets behind him.
Yeah, now Don's going to go underneath Kyle Purcell, try and make that move. He may have saved his tires a little better than everyone else. Don is a very strategic driver. He plays the long run, plays it right, and he's very smooth. That's what he's really good at. And, you know, 18 laps in, this is where tires are definitely going to you're going to start feeling him. I think maybe he saved his tires. I mean, right there, he gained 2/10 on Hillbilly. He is closing on this leader quick. That number 92 is on rails at this moment.
I'm interested. I don't know if when Purcell pitted, if he took tires or not. I don't think. I mean, that caution is so early. I don't think it matters. But you would think even a couple laps would be even a little bit of an advantage, especially at these mile-and-a-half something using Holio cars.
And you got to think of what Purcell had to do on that restart, too. He had to move up a lot, and he got up here a lot quicker than Donald Manning did. So that could just be he was using his tires up way too much early on, and Manning knew he was going to get up there as long as he saved those tires.
That's a very good point. Kyle wasted no time getting up there to that second spot. Maybe reaches up those tires a little bit more, and that damage definitely isn't helping him at all.
Yeah, and talking about damage, I really got to think about what Eggman's damage might be doing to him. He's got some left side damage, which we haven't really seen today. Not exactly sure where he got that. It happened after the caution as Hillbilly is up the track, and Manning's going to take the lead. I'm not sure quite if Hara caught the wall down the front straightaway. I'm going to go back and look at it, but Donald Manning to the front by 0.8 of a second.
A lot of very intense racing at the back. Looks like we just have a couple of cars just running around each other. Like before Hara got the ball, there was Sean Purcell and David Lofano, and then it was Larry Garnes and Tyrone Yo battling. So a lot of clean side-by-side racing as Lofano gets in the wall. Looks like he almost got pinched up by Hara. Looks like Hara's car is extremely tight right now. Maybe used up his tires a little bit more than the rest of the field.
What Lorfano just did is exactly what Hara did, but he did it all on his own. Going down the front straightaway, just got the back end stepping out, going through the second part of the trial, and caught the wall in the short chute, and it just messed up his entry to one tremendously. So that's definitely what happened. And Donald Manning didn't have to waste tires passing him. That's super important. Out to a 1.3 second lead, and he's definitely, I would say, he's probably got the freshest tires in the field right now.
Eggman is trying his hardest to get around Purcell right now. Almost had him clear, but that run on the outside is going to give Kyle another shot at it.
And you remember earlier on in this run, we talked about Sean Purcell saving tires. I may be standing correct. I may have stand corrected on what I just said just a couple sentences ago, that Donald Manning has the freshest tires, because Sean Purcell is catching these two in front of him very quickly. He does not want to waste much time getting by them. He might be a genuine threat net right now to Donald Manning 20 laps into this one.
Definitely used Cotton Eggman and his brother very quickly. Probably helped by the fact that they're side by side, but that's still very impressive. I mean, running in sixth, basically the whole race, all the way up to Badland for second right now.
Yeah, and I mean, now he's to the outside of a fellow Ford driver, Jeremy Eggman. And you know Eggman's not going to want to let him go too easily, but he's going to have to. But now he gets to the back bumper of his brother. This is the driver who I don't think is going to let him go easy at all, and that's what I'm excited to see how this battle goes out.
And definitely, it looks like it's pretty hard to pass on that inside. If you got someone on your outside, it's really difficult to get to pass complete. You can maybe barely clear yourself going into the corner, but the outside you just get such a good run off the corner. It's so difficult to get around.
Yeah, Sean Purcell, it looks like he might just barely be able to clear his brother coming off of 4 there, and I think he does. So unless Kyle Purcell gets another run right back at him, that 04 is going to set his sights on Donald Manning in the 92. He's going to have to make up 2 seconds or so. Did he save his tires enough to make up 2 seconds on another driver that's been saving?
Yeah, I'm wondering right now, Don, he's got a 2-second lead. That's quite a bit in at a mile and a half. Maybe if he's trying to save just a little bit until he feels like he's going to push again. Because, Sean has saved his tires early. I assume he's going to try to maybe push to get up to Don, maybe try to take the lead away from him.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. He's not going to... He has no reason... we're only 20 laps in, first of all. So you're not going to win the race on this lap, but... definitely puts you in a good position, but like you said, there's no reason to really push it at the moment. He's out front, pretty heavily out front, and he can sacrifice a little bit of a gap because he has fresher tires, in 10 laps compared to Sean.
Definitely, as you see Sean, he's already gapped Kyle by a good almost a second, like 0.7 of a second. So definitely Kyle used this stuff up, or maybe that damage just really inferring of how well his car is driving.
It seems like this whole run, Eggman and Kyle Purcell, have literally used their tires up the exact same because they've been next to each other this whole entire run. So that's really interesting to look at. Maybe Eggman was, kind of his driving style, chasing, following Kyle Purcell, ended up burning his tires up just as much.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if Eggman was kind of like judging his speed based off of Purcell just running with him this whole time. As he goes on the inside of Purcell, maybe he can get that side draft, pull him back. I don't think he'll be able to. He's gonna drive it in, but like we were saying, I think maybe he was kind of judging his speed and his tires getting off of Purcell, just trying to follow him up through the field.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And he's got a lot of work to do because we still got a long way to go in this race, and he's got the time to wait and to kind of ride around at this moment because you're not going to gain much at this moment. There's no reason to really push it to the inside there of Kyle, but I think he's got to think about the long term here because with the rate we're going at right now, we're definitely going to have green flag pit stops, and if he really sacrifices those tires even more than he already has, he's going to come into the pits with a severe disadvantage because he's going to be, 5 seconds probably at the least back from your leader, whoever it is, when pit stops come in.
Looks like he's gonna clear Purcell, maybe. Is he gonna go up there and make that block? No, he's gonna give Purcell room to get that run on the outside. I think Eggman has just a little bit more pace because it's really hard to stay on that inside and make the pass on the inside. So either Kyle's just kind of letting him have it and not trying to use his stuff up, or Eggman just has a little bit more pace as Purcell goes on the inside of Eggman.
Yeah, I think that answers your question right there. He's definitely not trying to let him have it, and I think it's just that maybe Eggman getting to ride around Purcell there for however many laps it was, 10 laps or so, nearly got to the back of him there. He got to ride around behind him there for a while instead of making moves. He probably has slightly better tires than Kyle Purcell does due to that. He gets to ride behind, doesn't have to lead the way, and he can kind of base himself off of the car in front. And now I think he might think he's ready to make the move, but Kyle Purcell's not giving it up easy.
Kyle Purcell definitely, if he does not want to let you by, he's going to make it very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to pass on the inside here at Vegas, it seems like. And not only that, he's giving Eggman one lane to pass him with.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do right now, but out front, Manning, that gap has dropped down to 1.2. I don't think that's just, we're going to see here eventually. There's going to be some point where that's probably going to change. It's either going to start going down a lot more or start, gaining or stabilizing, something like that. But it has definitely lowered. The gap has. It was almost 2 seconds. Now it's, 1.2. So Sean has gained, but I don't think he gained quite as quick as he probably would have thought with him saving tires.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if Sean, tried to go chase down that later as he's got it down to 1 second. Maybe he thought, I don't think I'm going to catch him as quick as I am. I don't want to use up my tires too much. I'm maybe just going to back it off a little bit, and if I catch him, I catch him.
Yeah, and right now those front two are continuing to drive away from the field, but Donald Manning catching Tyrone Yo. He's gonna have to lap the number 2 car without problem, and he's gonna go to the inside and make that one work. So now, what will Tyrone Yo? What is he gonna do for Sean Purcell here? I would assume he's gonna get out of the way pretty easily, but you never know with the lap cars. So Sean Purcell, though, he's gained a lot just that lap. Maybe he thinks it's go time. Maybe they're like pit stops are within the next 10 laps, and he thinks, all right, I can start pushing it, try and get him before I have to come into the pits.
Hopefully a good point, because I don't think Tyrone really interfered with Don's speed at all. He kind of got out of the way and let Don get around them pretty easily. So definitely think maybe Sean thinks it's go time, and he's going to try to get up there now.
Yeah, Eggman has tried to make moves the last couple laps coming out of 2. Last time by he was on the high side. This time by he's going to be on the bottom. This continues to be the closest battle on the track. Him and Kyle Purcell, they're going to be side by side rolling out of turn 2. and this time Eggman is a lot farther along Kyle Purcell's door. They have to navigate the lap traffic of Tyrone Yo. It's going to be 3 wide right here as they roll out of the corner. No one lifts, and Kyle Purcell gets the spot away running the high side.
Yeah, I'm interested to see why maybe Eggman isn't trying that side draft on the straights. I mean, he's just giving Kyle Purcell as much room as he needs, which is like good sportsmanship. But if he's really trying to get around them, I figured he would maybe try the side draft or maybe run the middle instead of that bottom.
Yeah, I think he realizes that's early, and I think at this point, you know, there's no reason to do that. You risk your own race doing that a lot more than just giving him the room. So I think he's probably playing it safe. I think later in this run, that's definitely something we're going to see if that is the case. But, you know, I think they're just trying to keep it clean and respectful. But out front, Sean Purcell is now within 4/10 of Donald Manning and closing continuously. As the draft, obviously, now Manning going to try and hold him off as long as possible. He's done a great job out front. But looks like Sean Purcell maybe saved those tires a little better.
Yeah. Either Sean Purcell saved tires more or Don didn't go fast enough, whichever. But Sean is there, and he's going to give Don whatever he's got right now.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in what the pit window is here, because if it's soon, I mean, I saw Tyrone Yo enter the pits, but he's a lap car that's caught the wall a couple times, so it's not a very good judge. If it's soon, this could be Sean Purcell just making a last-ditch effort before they have to come in and you know, get those fresh tires, because if he's saved all the way until here, he knows he can just push it. And now within a 10th, going to look to the outside of Manning going down the front straightaway. He goes to the high side of the track, now jumps it all the way back downstairs, looks for the crossover on his Ford teammate, and not really teammate, but Ford brother, I guess. As they roll down into 3, Sean Purcell is going to take the lead, and Donald Manning's going to fall into second. It was nice while it lasted, but Manning is going to have to settle for second here with 40 laps complete.
We have a newcomer battling for the 3rd spot. Larry Garnes is Kyle Purcell and Jeremy Eggman.
So maybe that's some more tire saving. You know, I think he's probably a little late compared to Sean Purcell and Donald Manning and what they were doing. But, I mean, that's still an absolutely great run. I believe last time I looked, he was 6 seconds back from the leader, if I'm not wrong about that. And now he's 5 seconds back and caught the group in front of him. And now Kyle Purcell enters the pit lane. That was really dicey, though. He could have caught another driver in that one.
Yeah, definitely cut it really close. I assume he kind of told the drivers around him that he was planning on pitting, but if he didn't, that was really close. Larry could have easily gotten in the back of him and ruined his day.
Purcell and Rodriguez are in. Let's look for what Sean and Don do. This time, Sean Purcell continues to ride around. Don continues to go. Larry Garnes just took 3rd away from Jeremy Eggman. He continues, and Eggman also does too. So we have 2 drivers that entered the pit lane. Going to look for how that starts the trends. But Kyle Purcell now out front by 0.8 of a second. Donald Manning just trying to hold on until these pit stops, hoping he's got the better car on the earlier part of the run. Maybe hoping for a caution halfway through this next run.
Yeah, definitely. Don definitely had the good short run speed, you know, pushing Hera and stuff, and then Hera had that mistake and kind of handed down the lead, and then Sean kind of made his way all the way through the field and is now leading this race.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Garnes at the moment is definitely the best car on the track. I mean, Larry Garnes ran 4/10 quicker than the leader that lap by. So he is on a move right now. That car is on rails, but I think he just started pushing it too late. I don't think he's going to get there before pit stops come in, but I think this is definitely a good little bit of testing, you know, for the end of the race. If he happens to be there at the end, could he play this one out? I mean, look at it. It's really, like, interesting. The same tracks that Manning has done good at this season, Garnes has done good at. They seem to be around each other all the time. It's Garnes and Manning. They're either both at the front or they're both in the middle of the pack, or it's very interesting to me.
Definitely an interesting point you made there, you know. they both had a really good run at Mid Ohio and at the road course we run here in the Holio series, and now here at Vegas, running up front, some pretty good pace. Larry has that gap all the way down, just under 3 seconds. He was almost 4 seconds, like 2 or 3 laps ago. He was on a mission.
That time by, he was second quicker than Don Manning and 3/10 quicker than your leader, Sean Purcell. He is running amazing laps. I mean, at the moment, if you look at drivers that just came in, like David Hara, he's less than a second off their pace. Look at someone who most recently came in, like Kyle Purcell, he's a little over a second off their pace. So for being 40, 50 nearly laps in, he is on an absolute tear right now. That number 20 is on the move, and now he's right on the back bumper of Donald Manning. And he's got his team owner running behind him, a lap down, trying to unlap himself. That's David Hara in the number 15, so look for him to maybe play a factor in this battle. To the outside goes Larry Garnes. Hara tried to go to the inside of Manning there, got it real tight off the corner this time. He will get to the inside of him coming off the corner.
I was wondering how Donald's going to play this. I presume he's not going to try to get up the spot very easily, but with Hara there, it's kind of difficult to kind of negotiate them both.
Yeah, and I mean, that did definitely slow down Garnes a little bit, but he's cleared Manning now, and he's still got his sights set on Sean Purcell. I mean, last time by, Sean Purcell did run a 32, and the only other driver that's been running 32s that hasn't pitted yet is Larry Garnes. So I think Sean maybe found something a little bit, but we're going to see this time how that really plays out. 33-2 for Sean Purcell, 32-7 for Larry Garnes, back up to 0.5 of a second quicker than your leader. He is on a move. I mean, if you look how it's trending right now, that's going to be 5 laps. He'll catch him. 5 laps if he keeps 0.5 of a second quicker than him.
You see Kyle Purcell catch up to Larry Garnes, going to get by him without knees, with these new tires.
And Manning's in the pits. So now, 2 drivers have yet to pit, and it is your leader, Sean Purcell, and Larry Garnes. I think we see Sean come in the next 2 laps or so, if not this lap. I think he realizes Garnes is closing. He's got to get those fresh tires. That basically negates Larry Garnes' saving because he didn't quite get there in time. He definitely gained a lot, but he didn't quite get to the goal he would want to. But both of them are going to stay out 1 more lap here at least, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, Garnes within 2 seconds already talking about this battle, and I think Sean letting these two people by is going to cost him a good half a second probably. Running that outside is not good for tire saving. As Kyle Purcell so close to Hara's 40 panel, that was a close call for both of those two.
Yeah, and I think when these pit stops cycle out, as long as it keeps green, I actually think Kyle Purcell is going to be the leader briefly until the tires, start to wear off for him. Then that's going to change drastically. But he's passing Hara. They just both unlap themselves. And I think when these two come in, I think the advantage of those fresh tires is going to mean that they're going to inherit the lead, but it's not going to last too long.
Yeah, definitely. I think these Purcell, Manning, and Garnes are on a different strategy than Purcell and Hara and some of those other people, especially with how elastic the tire wear is. So definitely Purcell and Hara are going to inherit this lead when they pit, when these leaders that are in the lead now pit, but that tire fall-off is probably just going to end Sean and Larry Garnes and not handing that lead right back.
Larry Garnes really runs the outside of the track that time by, and had to let those lap cars by, or decided to let those lap cars by. I think he lost time doing that. He needs to stay on that bottom. He needs to gain this time. I mean, it's not going to be too long until Sean Purcell decides to enter the pits, and it can't be too long until Larry Garnes also decides. So, if Larry wants the full advantage out of it and get that lead, he definitely has the chance of doing it. I think he's going to need to pick it up a little more here and keep his foot to the floor and the car on the bottom.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, Larry's got the gap down so far. I mean, he could easily get a lot more track time on Sean if he has a really, really good pit stop. And he's got it down to almost a second, a little over a second. So one little mistake by Sean, and that would probably give Larry the spot if he has a good pit stop when he decides to pit.
Yeah, Sean's under attack now from some lap cars, so that's not really going to help him because he's going to have to be forced to not really run the line he wants to. Larry Garnes is closing once again back to doing what he was doing before, but not as much as he was. You know, I think if he was closing still 0.5 of a second, he would have been here by now. He's not. He was about 0.2 of a second quicker that time by, which is still good, but I don't know if it's going to get him here in time because it can't be much longer until these two decide to pit.
Yeah, definitely. Sean and Larry just counting the laps until they're probably looking at a number, probably like maybe we're at lap 55, probably like lap 60. They're probably gonna try to pit, I would say. Almost trying to split this race in half. And that's probably my best estimation is they're gonna split the race in half and do 2 stops maybe. I could be wrong, but Larry's, kind of stayed at that even second behind.
That's a huge thought. I mean, I didn't even think about that. Playing the one-stop strategy, pitting directly in the middle, and not having to pit at all from that point, that is not something I even thought about. These other drivers might be playing the 2-stop, pit once here, about a third of the way through, then pit 2/3 of the way, and then have those fresher tires at the end. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. But I think if they want to split it in half, they got to go longer than 60. They got to make it 65, nearly to lap 70 probably. Well, no, 60 would work, I think. 60, yeah, I think if they make it a lap 60, I think right now they could actually probably split this race in half.
Yeah, definitely. They did have that little bit of lenient room for that caution on lap 1, so they could probably save a little bit of fuel. So definitely, I don't know how far they can stretch it to split it perfectly in half, but we're definitely close to hitting that mark where they can pit and split this race in half.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how tires are going to work in that one because all these other guys, obviously, if they make another pit stop, but if the tire wear is that big and they think it's that big, then I don't think that's going to be, like, that might be an issue. Like, that might not be an issue for them, the fact they have to make another pit stop. They might gain so much. So it's going to be interesting to see how this strategy plays out. Obviously, 2 drivers seem to be on the same strategy. The rest of the field seems to be on a relatively similar strategy to everyone else. So going to be interested to see. And Sean Purcell is going to make the way down to pit lane. Larry Garnes is going to follow. The front 2 are in the pits.
What these drivers need is the perfect execution of these pit stops, because definitely running out this first run a lot longer. So if they make a mistake, maybe speeding the pits, overshoot their pit stop by a lot, I mean, that could potentially cost them their race right now.
It's going to be all about who makes it out of the pits here. Looking like 4 tires for both of them. That's probably the calling it out about it. Kyle Purcell, like I said, is in the front. He's in the front by a large margin. Both of them roll out, but they're going to exit the pits just as they came in. And with those pit stops now completed, Nathan, what do you think? It's time for a commercial break?
Sounds good. We'll be right back after this quick message.
Back to more racing action right after this. With over 25 years experience, Lucky Dog Detailing offers the best of the best in vehicle reconditioning, fully licensed and insured. Their #1 goal is customer satisfaction and developing a friendship with each job. Call them at 704-401-6075 or visit them on the web at luckydogdetailing.com. Lucky Dog Detailing, the best of the best in vehicle reconditioning. This race brought to you in part by Blue Gray Plastic Fabrication, repair, design, and fabrication of plastic holding tanks and plastic form products. With over 50 years of combined experience working in plastic fabrication, Blue Gray has achieved a reputation of one of the foremost custom fabrication leaders in the industry. Find them on the web at bluegrayplasticfab.com or call 704-226-7024 and get a quote for your next project. That's Blue Gray Plastic Fabrication. Now back to trackside action with the ORR Lawn Care Truck Racing Series of the All-American Racing League.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us here tonight for the All-In 175. We'll send it back up to the booth to Christian and Peter.
Thank you, Nathan, for that one. While we were away, Larry Garnes set a quick time of the race, and he has just passed Sean Purcell. So now, Kyle Purcell leads, remember, on the completely different strategy than Larry Garnes and Sean Purcell. They're trying to split this race in half, to our knowledge. So we're going to see how these pit strategies play out. Larry Garnes, the advantage he had going on that last run was that he saved his tires so long, but now setting fastest lap times and running so much quicker than Sean Purcell, does that advantage he had last run maybe go away?
I think Larry, with Larry's ability to save tires, if he kind of throws that out the window, I think that kind of negates how he got up to the front to start with. If he uses the stuff up early and has nothing for this long run, if they're planning on doing this one pit stop race, I feel like it'll definitely hurt him a lot more if he goes hard and tries to get the lead now, because that's not, I feel like, the plan of action for Larry and Sean. They're going to kind of save these tires, be as consistent as they can, keep, not tear up the rubbers too much, and then as these front runners that are running right now pit, they will inherit the lead.
Yeah, I think, it is, if you look at lap times, there's no way Sean Purcell is running 100% right now. He's obviously saving. He was running 31.7s. Larry Garnes was running 31.3s. That time by he was a little bit quicker, but this is, there's no way Sean Purcell is not saving. Last time, this is exactly what he did, and this is what got him to the front. I think he's playing the strategy exactly how he needs to. I think Larry Garnes needs to, maybe he's just trying to get out front and then really hardcore save, then he's out front of Sean Purcell and doesn't have to worry about passing him. I don't really know. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Definitely. I'm very interested to see how Donald Manning and Eggman's race go, because basically, I don't know how long they can go on field, but they definitely pitted a little bit after Purcell and Juggles and Hera and all them. They almost undercut Sean Purcell and Garnes, so I don't know if they can make it on one stop, and if they tried to undercut it, because Don and Eggman have the track position over Larry and Sean right now. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can make it, or if they also doing the two pit stop strategy.
Christian,
Yeah.
I think they will not be able to make it. So Kyle and Travis pitted at lap 41, and then Don and Jeremy came in at 49. So they may be able to make it, because we saw those guys go they pitted on lap 59,
60.
so about 60 laps. So I'm not sure those two can make it, but for sure I believe Larry and Sean can.
Yeah, so maybe Kyle and Juggles, I agree. I don't think they can make it, but Don and Eggman, I guess there's a possibility they save enough fuel to make it there. I'm interested to see how that ends up playing out, but Larry Garnes is up to 4th already, just past David Hera. Sean Purcell hasn't even passed anybody since he came out. I'm really, really questioning Larry's decision to, full speed right away. I think that could maybe come back and bite him, but obviously we're not the drivers we're not in the cars right now, so we don't know exactly. Maybe this is what he did earlier and we just didn't see this part of the run, but it's not what I expected after the first half of this race.
Yeah, definitely. It almost seems like Sean and Larry are on the same strategy, but they're also on polar opposite strategies at the same time. They both pitted at the same lap. They're trying to do this one-stop strategy, but Larry trying to get as much of a gap to Sean as he can, and Sean's trying to, we feel like he's trying to just save tires. Definitely not running 100%.
Yeah, Larry's running quickest times on the track, which you would not, it's not surprising. because him and Sean were the last ones to pit. But, I mean, he's running lap times that I feel like at this point in the run, you don't want to be running if you're trying to make it to the end on just one run. I mean, he's running 31.7s, no doubt. There's some tire wear in there, but you look at Sean Purcell, he's running 32.4s. Don Manning, Juggles Rodriguez, they're running 32.5s. So Sean is like really holding back. He's not letting that car get out from under him, really keeping the rubber underneath of that thing, and just running pace with the guys that are in those top three, even though they pitted so much later than him, so much earlier than him. Sorry.
That's going to be interesting because another thing I'm thinking of is if you run harder, you burn more fuel. So maybe, I mean, he could run hard enough that he won't not make it if he goes 110% the rest of the half of the race. So, you know, not only is he burning his tires up early, he might overdo it on the fuel situation.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one as well. That's a good point. Out front, though, Kyle Purcell is getting about to be under attack from Juggles Rodriguez there. The number 7 Toyota Supra try to get to the back bumper of the 16 Toyota Supra. Toyota right up front. And this gap has diminished very quickly. And Juggles is looking to take the lead of the race. And then that will be really interesting because I'm not quite sure exactly what pit strategy Juggles is on. I assume he's on a similar one to Purcell. But, you know, all these guys are kind of on different ones in some way. Obviously, Sean and Larry are on a completely different strategy than everybody else. But I'm interested to see when Juggles pits compared to Kyle.
Yeah, it shows on my data that Juggles and Kyle pitted on the same lap on lap 42. So, on the same strategy, I presume they're doing the two pit stop strat. So, basically, they're running their own race right now, Purcell and Juggles.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I see that too. They both pitted on lap 41. If you look at Manning, he made it, 5 laps later, like Nathan said, and then Garnes 59, Purcell 59, Eggman 49, and then Hera is obviously not going to make it. Him and Lorfano both pitted in the 30s, 33 and 37 respectively. So they definitely are going to have to pit once again. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Lorfano. It shows him 2 laps down. I don't know if he had speeding in the pits and had to do a penalty.
I think it was that first incident, the first one. I think he had to tow, either that or he didn't have his fast repair selected. But I think he had to tow, and he ended up going laps down because of that.
That would make the most sense, I think. But, I mean, Larry Garnes definitely had the tow, too, and stayed on the lead lap, so I think he made it. Maybe he had his fast unchecked. Because Larry Garnes was upside down in that first direct. Hopefully he had no ability to get that part out.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. It's interesting to figure that one out, but Rodriguez has pulled away from Purcell here. We are much over halfway now, so this is, when the second part of pit strategy is going to start coming into play. When do these guys pit again? At this point, 78 obviously going to be coming to lap 79. That's going to be, when we get to lap 80, that's about 37 laps at that point. So, that's, if you look at some of these guys, the first stint for Hera, the first stint for Lorfano was around 30 laps. Rodriguez, Purcell, their last stints were 40, so maybe they're trying to split this one up. Somewhere around 40 laps each time. So I think we see Rodriguez and Purcell come in at some point here relatively soon, honestly, if we're looking at the pit strategy, the trends, I guess.
It definitely looks like Purcell's pitting now, so called it right on the money. It looks like Juggles is going to stay out for a couple more laps.
Yeah. Call me Larry Mack. I know when the trends are. That was perfectly timed, I guess. Now we're gonna see how those fresh tires compare to drivers such as Sean Purcell and and Larry Garnes. I honestly think this is Sean Purcell's race to lose. I know Larry Garnes has the lead or technically, obviously not has the lead, but Sean Purcell has been saving, obviously, and I don't know that Larry's been saving as much as Sean. He definitely has not been saving as much as Sean. I think Don Manning being on pretty much the same strategy as Purcell, that's gonna hurt him. I think honestly this one stop is probably the call. I don't think tires are quite enough to gain a lap and more. You know, pretty much 2 laps to get the lead. I don't think that the tires are gonna be enough. I think they have to hope for a caution.
And definitely, Don pitted what 10 laps before Larry and
Yeah, 10 laps.
Sean. So I mean, he might try to stretch it, but we'll see if he pits pretty soon or not.
Yeah, and I mean, with when Garnes and Purcell pitted, they could have that's just barely making it. Because you think they, 59, if that's as long as they could go, 59, and they're taking that thing and they're pushing it to the limit, saving, that's what, 118 laps if you split it halfway. So that's 1 lap to the good. If they can only make 59 laps on a tank, I don't see Don being able to stretch 10 more laps out of a tank if they couldn't. That's as far as they could go.
I definitely agree. I mean, I'm just wondering because we don't know the minds of the drivers. Maybe they were actually just trying to split the race in half, and they still had some more left in the tank, or maybe they were out, so they had to get in. So
Yeah.
not sure when it comes to how much fuel these cars can keep in here. So we don't know. Like that's in my mind. I don't know if Purcell and Larry Garnes perfectly wanted to split the race in half, or at lap 59 they were out and they were forced to come down. So then we'll have to figure out maybe at the end of the race when if we get to interview one of those two.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm really looking at these lap times of Larry Garnes and Sean Purcell. That last time by, not this time, not these lap times that they were just doing, that they just set, but the lap before that, Larry Garnes was the slowest out of the top 4. Jeremy Eggman has entered the pit lane now, so guys starting to make their pit stops, but, you know, Garnes, I don't think his strategy is quite playing out with not saving the tires, but Rodriguez is going to come in, so Don Manning's going to inherit the lead. Now it really comes down to race pace and how the car is going to handle Larry Garnes, 2.8 seconds off of Donald Manning. Manning still has to make another pit stop, obviously, judging on, well, we assume he does. But Garnes is not running much quicker laps than Manning, and neither is Sean Purcell. They're both running only about a 10th faster than Donald Manning right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out.
And definitely for sure. At the pace that Don's going now, I don't think he's going to be able to keep the lead if he decides to stretch it. But because we presume that Garnes and Purcell are good for the rest of the race. Yeah. Unsure about Don, if he can make it, but Garnes and Purcell definitely have a little bit more pace just because they paid a little bit later. So we'll see how far Don's willing to push it. And I presume maybe once he gets past by eventually Larry Garnes might take it down in the pit road.
And I think Sean Purcell is still hardcore saving right now because he just set, out of the cars that, you know, were on track not making pit stops and stuff, he set the slowest lap time on the track. So interested to see now this time by. This time he's a little bit quicker, but still, once again, the slowest lap time, 2 laps in a row. You got to think at some point that saving is going to become void if you're too far back. You know, Sean is 3 seconds, actually closer to 4, or maybe closing in on 5 seconds off of Larry Garnes. At some point here, does Larry Garnes, I think Larry Garnes is saving a little bit now too. So at some point, does Sean Purcell's attempt to save cost him?
Yeah, definitely. He needs to, you know, have that mindset of like, what lap do I want to go? What lap do I need to push and try to get up to at least Larry? Because we presume that Don can't make it. He's going to have to pit sometime. So basically, this race is between Larry and Sean. And if he waits too long, he's not going to have enough time to go back up there and catch him.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And I mean, they were a lot closer lap time-wise that time by. Well, this time it's going to be different. But, I mean, that time by, we'll see once Sean crosses the line. Top 3, we're all in the 8s. Donald Manning, a 32.86. Larry Garnes, a 32.84. Sean Purcell, 32.86. They're not gaining any time on each other. They're all kind of even at the moment. It looks like Garnes is closing on Manning a little bit, but that time by he's actually going to lose a lot of ground. No one's gaining. No one's gaining at this point, and no one's really losing. Actually, Larry Garnes, he lost time to Sean Purcell there because he had to run the top with Rodriguez on the inside. But these top 3, they're kind of all sitting together. So if Don does happen to be able to make it, that's really going to be interesting to me. You know, Don, obviously, he's put on some surprising moments before, but I think this would definitely be one of the top of the list if he ends up being able to make it all the way.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be, it's hard to say, but, I in the back of my mind, I have a feeling that he can't make it, and he's just hoping for a caution. I mean, he's got the top 5 laps as well.
Yeah.
He will have the top 5 laps. Douglas right now is going down lap himself right now, but he's got the top 6 laps right now, so hoping for hopefully a caution or something and trap those guys a lap down.
I think the only way Don benefits from this is if he gets a caution, because at this point, pitting is not going to do anything. Pitting, you're going to be too far back to gain that all back in 27 laps. You're not going to be close enough to them. But I think Don is either hoping for a caution or he knows something that we don't feel confident in saying. I don't feel confident saying Don is going to make it here. I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, I definitely do not, just because like we said, Larry and Sean perfectly split the race in half, basically. And we don't know if that was on purpose or that's because they had the pit right then. So we're not sure. I mean, it looks like Larry has more speed than Don, and slowly but surely reeling them in. So, I mean, only a little over a second gap on Larry, and with over 20 to go, he's going to have to do a lot of defensive driving once Larry gets up to him.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look, like Sean Purcell, he's starting to close a little more now, but he still ran the slowest lap time out of the top 3. I mean, the only reason it looks like he's closing is because it's relative to the leader. So, and actually, Donald Manning's going to come down the pit lane now, so he couldn't make it. Larry Garnes is going to inherit the lead. I think Manning was waiting for a caution. It didn't happen, and I think that's probably his chance to get this win today, unfortunately. But Larry Garnes is going to inherit the lead now. Does Sean Purcell? Does he have that ability to gain nearly 5 seconds on the leader, Larry Garnes here?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because, I mean, if Sean is pushing, I mean, that would be mind-blowing, because Sean had a really good pace at the start of the race, and it would be kind of surprising to see if Sean cannot get up to him. I think he's just still trying to save, but we're going down to 20 to go. I think it's time to start at least trying to chip away at it a little bit.
I gotta say, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but after the race, I'd like to get an interview with Don Manning, even if he doesn't finish on the top 3, because I really do want to know his strategy there and what he was hoping for. But, I mean, obviously the race isn't over, a lot could change. But, I mean, it really intrigued me, his, what he was going for there. I assume he was going for a caution, but, pitting that late wasn't really going to work, and I'm surprised that, anyone really thought a caution might come out, so it's interesting to me.
I'm very interested to see what Don was thinking. Eggman and Don pitted at the same time, teammates, and Eggman pitted quite a lot earlier on that second pit stop than Manning did. So I think Eggman knew that he wasn't going to make it, and Don was just trying to ride it out for a caution. That's at least my best analysis of what was going on, but we could be very wrong.
And that lap by, Sean Purcell was quicker, but he didn't really gain because he lost time the lap before. So, right now, I mean, there's nothing really they can do. I mean, there's nothing. I think Sean, he must still be saving. I feel like he would have caught Larry at some point in this run if he wasn't saving. I feel like he's hoping for a moment where it's perfect, but he's got to gain so much each lap for it to work. I think if he does happen to get past Larry, he's going to have timed it perfectly. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he will have timed it perfectly, or it's just not going to work.
Definitely going to be interesting to see what Sean's approach at this is. But I'm almost wondering as well is maybe did Sean take maybe what he thought was the perfect amount of fuel to make that car lighter, and then it turned out that he needed more, so he has to save a little bit more.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about the fact that Sean might have to save. He may have ran low on fuel. The fuel might be going down, and that thing decided not to take as much fuel as Larry Garn. Larry Garn's caught the wall there coming out of turn 2. Your leader into the wall. Now he's got right front and complete right side damage. Sean Purcell is now within 3.5 seconds.
What? A costly mistake for Larry. I mean, we don't know what's going on with Sean right now. I mean, definitely wasn't trying to catch Larry right now, but Sean, this is Sean's race to lose now. I mean, if he was saving, he can't save now unless, like we said before, he's low on fuel from, trying to make a bold strategy move.
Larry Garns hasn't had damage since he flipped on lap 1, so he doesn't know how that car's going to handle with right side damage. Everyone's been struggling with it tonight, except for really him, honestly, so he's going to have to figure out how that car's going to handle in 18 laps. Is he going to be able to hold off Sean Purcell? That's really going to be the question here. Sean's cut it down 0.3 of a second that lap, more like 1/10 of a second that lap, but I mean, he's now nearly within 3 seconds of Larry Garns when it was only 5 last time. This is really going to shake up, because if Sean Purcell does get there, what's the battle between them going to look like, between Larry Garns and Sean Purcell? Because it's going to be right at the end of this race. I still think Sean isn't catching him quick enough to catch him, with 10 to go. I think he'll end up catching him with 5 to go or something like that. And it's going to be timed right at the end. We could see one of the biggest battles of this season.
Yeah, and Don Manning has unlapped himself. So right now, Don's hoping that Sean gets up there and they battle hard and they wreck and get a caution and put Don back into this fight for the lead. Because we all know that Don had really good short run speed and then kind of fell off as the run went on.
Yeah, I mean, think about if we get a caution, like you just said. Think about how many people that benefits. Travis Rodriguez, that benefits incredibly. Kyle Purcell, benefits really good. Donald Manning on the freshest tires in the field. It's going to benefit him, no doubt about it. Jeremy Eggman, who's unlapping himself right now, he also pitted very similar time to Don Manning. So Jeremy's also going to be looking forward. He hasn't really gotten a chance to go back up there since the beginning of this race. So, look for all these guys who have just pitted recently to be hoping for this caution and maybe battle the leaders a little bit harder. But Sean Purcell's 1.3 seconds back. I think he's catching him a little quicker than I thought. I think Sean realizes it's go time now.
It definitely is. I mean, it's 15 to go. If you've got anything left, you gotta get up there. I mean, you've got a second, but something could happen and a caution could come out. Larry can, go get that damage fixed. We know he used that fast repair, so he doesn't have another one in the bank to use to fix that damage. But fresh tires can fix a lot of ill handling features of that car.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, right now, looking at the speeds, Larry Garns was at I'll look at the back straight away. I want to see their speeds entering the corner because if Sean is quicker, Sean might literally just be quicker on the straightaways too because of that damage. Garns 178. Actually, looked like Larry may have been actually quicker at the end of the straightaway. Sean's fresher tires, though, are benefiting incredibly going through the corners. So 13 laps to go, 1.1 seconds back is the gap between 1 and 2 right now. This is going to really come down to the wire.
I'm just really excited to see when Sean, if and when Sean gets up there, how hard Larry's going to try to keep this spot, because this is for the win. Like, you don't, especially in this league, wins are really hard to come by, especially in any series now. Larry Garns had a potential win at Mid-Ohio and gave it away with one mistake, and Don Manning ended up taking that one. So I'm interested to see how hard Larry is going to fight this. As Sean is down to half a second, he's there.
Yeah, I said he wasn't going to be there, and with 10 to go, he's going to be there with 10 to go, no doubt about it. This is going to be a lot of laps. Larry Garns is going to have to hold off Sean Purcell, and Larry's a very humble racer. I don't know that he's going to, if he thinks Sean is quicker, he might just honestly let him go, and he's going to hold the top side, and Sean drives right by. Sean Purcell, 10 laps to go, new leader Back to the front goes the 04 Ford Mustang. I think that's it. I mean, unless we get a caution here, Sean Purcell played the tire game perfectly. He's out front, 10 laps to go at Vegas. For anyone else to get him, I think he has to hope for a caution at this point.
Yeah. It's a tough break for Larry. I mean, such a gentleman move just to let Sean have it. He's got the damage. His car's not running the best anymore. I mean, before that damage, they're running about equal lap times. But once again, we didn't know if Sean was pushing or not. But such a tough break for Larry. He had this win basically in his hands, and he dropped it.
Yeah, really unfortunate. I mean, Larry, obviously, like you said, had that great run at Mid-Ohio. And now he's got, you know, what looked like possibly to go and try and get redemption from Mid-Ohio and try and get that first one this season. And unfortunately, looks like he might just come up short. But this race is not over. Cautions do happen. Even in a small field like this, lap traffic, all that, cautions can happen. So with 8 laps to go, Sean Purcell's hoping that there isn't a caution. Larry Gardens and everyone else behind him is hoping there is.
Yeah, definitely. Rodriguez about 6 seconds back isn't going to have the time to go up there and try to compete with Sean unless Sean has a big mistake. So really, Sean just has to hope for these next 7 laps to be as clean as can be, and he's going to come out here with a win at Vegas.
Now, what's really funny about you mentioning Rodriguez is, while I don't think he is going to get there, last time by, he was just a little bit less than a second off of Sean Purcell, and if he gained a second every lap, he would get right to the back bumper of him on the last lap. So, I mean, I doubt that's going to happen. He needs to put together, you know, 6 good, phenomenal laps. And I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, kind of funny to think about that Juggles, who's 6 seconds back, kind of had a chance off those tires. But I don't think it's quite going to play out. I think they needed more time for that, the 2-stop play to work out in their favor.
And we're rooting for Juggles to go up there and give something for him, but I think there's just not enough time.
Five laps to go. These drivers have put on a great show tonight. The tire, the pit strategy, the fuel strategy has been, you know, the fuel, the tire, the pit strategy, all of it has been the main talking point of tonight's race. And, you know, they've put on an absolutely phenomenal show, seeing two different types of stops. And Sean Purcell gets to the line to get 4 laps to go, and he's just hoping to log out the rest of these corners and the rest of these laps, so that this strategy play really does, you know, play out, I guess, for him.
And definitely, 2 races in a row where this pitch strategy has been the big talking point. As you mentioned now, a bunch of different pitch strategy calls with not a lot of cautions at Phoenix, and we're in the same thing. Looks like the odd pitch strategy once again is going to come out here potentially to help this race.
And I gotta say, the Holio series, they've put on some absolutely phenomenally clean races this season. I mean, these drivers, they've done an absolutely amazing job. Some would say this is the hardest out of the 3 NASCARs to drive. It can be on some tracks. The next gen, they've really kind of improved it and made it sometimes easier than this Holio car to drive. And I think the fact that these drivers have done this well this season, kept the cautions relatively low, I think they've done a great job with that.
The key to these races is making it past the first lap. I think this is our 6th race of the year, and we've had 4 lap 1 cautions. So once they get going, they seem to get going. But like you said, these ones are definitely trickier of the 3 to drive now that they've updated the next gen to make it a little more drivable, and it's fun, and you can see that in our Tuesday night league with all the excitement that goes on in there. But for sure, as we come to the white flag,
yeah, Sean Purcell is going to take the white, and now at this point, all he's got to do is navigate 4 corners all on his own. Doesn't have to worry about yellows, doesn't have to worry about anything else. Rodriguez did get past Garns, so he's going to take second away before the end of this one. And got Sean Purcell as he rolls through into 3 and 4 right now. The 04 Pepsi Ford Mustang, Texas Roadhouse on the back bumper there. He's going to come out of the corner. Didn't even know if he was racing tonight. He shows up kind of last second and gets the win here at Las Vegas with the pit strategy call. Congratulations to Sean Purcell. And not the most exciting finish, but I gotta say, the most exciting thing about this one was definitely that pit strategy, calling that, finding when people were gonna pit, and that they put on a great show just with that alone.
I agree with you there. That was one of the most interesting races I've at least been part of the broadcasting. You know, with the different pit strategies, you saw like Hera and Orfano. You know, try to do it on 3 stops with doing like 30 lap stints, and then you saw Manning and Eggman, you know, try to undercut these guys, but Sean and Larry had the perfect strategy, and then Larry just with that one mistake is going to lose second because of it, but still a good run for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In just a moment here, we will have your third place finisher, Larry Garns, and we're going to drag him in. So, Larry Garns, this is the boys up in the AARL broadcasting booth. You got us.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I gotta say, the pit strategy, especially in that first stint, was very interesting to watch, very fun to watch, no doubt about it. And we didn't really know when pit stops were coming. At the end of that one, looked like maybe used up the car a little bit, had one mistake that maybe cost you that one. But I gotta say, an absolutely phenomenal run for you tonight. Talk us through it.
Yeah, appreciate it. The pit strategy, I was just pushing it as far as I could go, and then coming towards the end, I thought, man, I'm not going to have enough, and I started clutching it coming around the turns, and then I bumped up in the wall, and I think that's what lost it for me. But other than that, I'll take it. It was a good race. Everybody had a good run. HMS did all right, and I had a blast.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I saw you after the race getting a push from David Lorfano. So were you out going to the
Yeah,
line?
I was out when I come to the start finish line.
That's very interesting because Purcell coasted across the start finish line. I was wondering that same thing. So we up in the booth, we didn't realize it was that close. We thought maybe 2 laps or so, but we didn't realize it was really down to that last lap on fuel.
No, yeah, it was down to the wire because like I said, I was with 20 laps to go. I started actually easing in on my clutch, just trying to save fuel because I knew I actually didn't have enough to get it to the finish.
Anything you want to say to him, Nathan?
Great run out there tonight, Larry. You're gonna get one soon. You've had a couple of decent runs here in the Xfinity at Road America and then, Mid Ohio and tonight. And keep it up the great work, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks, guys. You do the same, and yeah, we'll definitely see you next week.
Anybody you would like to thank before we send you back?
Oh yeah, of course, HMS Motorsports, Hillbilly Motorsports, and my sponsors, uh, Strike to Remember Lawn Care down in Charlotte.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming in for this interview. Congratulations on the third place finish. Great run for you tonight. And we'll let you go and celebrate with your team.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. That was Larry Garnes, finished third tonight, driver number 20, HMS Machine. Now we're going to drag in Travis Juggles Rodriguez. Travis Rodriguez, this is the boys in the booth. You got us.
Yes, sir.
Tonight, you got a second place finish, and an interesting pit strategy intertwined throughout the whole night. You were on a different strategy, obviously, than Sean Purcell and Larry Garnes there. Talk us through how that race played out.
Surprisingly well, I guess. What didn't help, at least in the first run, or from the green at least, um, I can only assume it was a bit of an arrow push, and I clipped the wall coming out of 4, so I had damage for most of that first run. And it just kind of turned into following Kyle for the first stop, and then waiting to see what would happen for the second one, just because I didn't know what he was going to do from that point forward. but it seemed to have worked out. I mean, another handful of laps, and I'd have probably caught Sean, but it was definitely felt like a good race at least.
Yeah, definitely walk us through. Cause did you even think in your mind that a one-stop strategy would even work, or did you already go into the race thinking like I'm gonna definitely gonna have to pit at least twice?
Um, I mean, personally, I hate fuel strategy races, but I didn't think the one stop would work. I mean, talking with Kyle about it a little bit before the race, um, we kind of both assumed a one stop wouldn't work unless you were like hyper miling everything and trying to save as much as possible, which obviously Sean and Larry even both saved as much as they needed. Um, I think even Larry said like he got to the line and ran out of fuel. Like, oh, so I think another lap or two, and I might have had him. But it was definitely a surprise that it worked as well as it did.
Yeah, it was definitely really fun to watch how that strategy was going to play out. We didn't even know really what was going to work out. Nathan, anything you'd like to say to Travis?
Travis, thanks for coming out tonight. You've made a few of our races and look to be a strong contender here as we go into an off week next week, but coming back and hopefully we'll see you out here in a couple weeks with us again.
Oh, definitely trying to.
Anybody you'd like to thank for the second place finish here in Vegas?
The track. I love Vegas. I don't know why. Something about Las Vegas just feels really good, and the trucks and the Xfinity cars, and even in the Cup cars.
I will second that. I love Vegas too. So congrats on your second place run. We'll send you back to celebrate, and hopefully we get to talk to you again in the future.
Let's hope so. Thank you, sir.
And now we're going to drag in Sean Purcell, the winner of the race. Sean Purcell, this is the boys in the booth. You got us.
I do.
Congrats on the win here in Las Vegas. You didn't even know if you were going to be able to race tonight. Showed up and you got it done. Talk us through the pitch strategy plan through. Larry said he was coasting across the line. What were you looking like for fuel and tires?
I wasn't sure how long a fuel run was because I didn't really get much practice in, but after about I don't know 25 laps or so, I was looking that it might be pretty close. So I started fuel saving. I mean, from lap one, I was tire saving. That's why everyone passed me. I didn't really put up any fight after the first restart there. I think I fell back fifth or sixth, and just kind of chilled for a bit. And then by the time people started hitting the pits, I was back in the lead. So my strategy with intermediate is always the same. Just be fast but not push it. And I was just trying to go as long as I could because I knew that I had a little less gas because I didn't pit under the first caution.
Well, yeah, it was definitely interesting to look at that fuel strategy, Christian.
Yeah, I was definitely like how you said before, you didn't have a lot of practice for um didn't know what the fuel stage was. So when in the race did you know that a one-stop race was the plan for you?
I was starting to think about it around lap 25. I was kind of committed by 35. I had started backing up my corner entries a lot, and I was just maintaining a gap to the people behind me. I was trying to keep them like at least half a second back, and then once they started hitting the pits, I'm like, well, I'm committed now. And I kept telling myself, especially after Juggles pit, and he was really fast out of the pits there at the end. I was just race my race, just telling myself race my race over and over, not worry about them.
Yeah, well, you played the strategy exactly how you needed to and worked out for you. Anything you'd like to say to him, Nathan?
I just want to say sorry about the race being set up, Ron. That's on me. I wasn't intentional by any means. I apologize for that, but glad you can make it out and Parker here in victory lane. I think you're the first repeat winner in 6 races, so that's something to be proud of. And good luck the rest of the year. And go run that AARL banner there on the window at a couple more Daytona races this week because we know you love Daytona.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just got to inflate my I rating a little more. I just want a quick shout out to Johnny May. He wasn't able to race because of some back issues, but obviously team owner and all that. Always appreciate his support.
Yeah, well, congrats on the win tonight, and we'll send you back to I guess celebrate with yourself because Johnny May isn't here. But enjoy
Thanks.
enjoy the
You
rest
guys
of
have
your night. You played the strategy right, so good job.
yeah, thank you. You guys have a good one.
And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to drag Donald Manning in here just because I want to hear. He had a kind of middle of the group pit strategy. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna drag him in.
Okay with that?
Don Manning, this is the boys in the booth. Not a podium finish, but you're still getting an interview here. You got us.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Well, we're doing good. We saw early in that run, you were very quick there. You look like you saved tires, maybe not quite as much as Sean was able to do, but early in the run, you definitely looked promising, and you kind of had a middle of the road strategy while Sean and Larry, stayed out really long to make it a one stop, and everybody else stayed out really long, like really short to make it a two stop. You kind of were in the middle, and just talk us through that. Were you hoping for a caution or what?
Nah, I kind of got in a jam. I got caught up in the first wreck and pitted, which gave me a couple extra laps. Went back out and just kind of got in a groove, which ended up being a little bit faster than everybody. And then, of course, it progressively gets slower, and Sean saved his stuff a little bit. Ran me down, which is fine. I mean, you come through there, and then I hit a point where, I mean, it just did not want to turn whatsoever. And I probably pushed it. I was trying to get to where I could make it on one more stop, but it was just getting to the point of undrivable. So I came in, got tires, filled it up, went back out, and then I was still like 3 gallons short according to my little tracker thing. Um, Going out there. So then you end up with, well, I've got to stop again. So how many laps left do I need to stop? Give it the fall off, and I'm gonna take a hit, and I need to try to catch back up. So I kind of landed about. I wanted to get to about 25 laps to do it, and I did that, and made up some ground, and then I cheated up enough at the end where we just kind of normalized, and short of the first couple guys running out of gas, I was kind of stuck where I was.
Christian?
Yeah, I was definitely interested to see because during the race we really didn't know how far the fuel mileage was going to go, and we didn't realize that Sean and Larry were literally clutching in on the last lap to make it. So we're definitely interested to see if maybe like you could have gone the whole race. So that's mostly why we dragged you in to see like how much you thought you could have gone before you had to pit.
Yeah, probably, if I'd been clutching stuff the last one, I probably could have cut it close, but it was just, um, yeah, I figured like I said, it was still a couple laps short, or a couple gallons short. So I was like, I'm not going to push it. Let me just try to get tires. And it became a matter of, trying to time it where I'm going to lose time, and I need to flail pretty hard to catch up, but not burn them up, and depend on the other guys getting slow. That went through there, and like I said, it looked like looking at the gaps about 5 laps from the end. Uh, I kind of normalized out to the guys in front of me, and it was just kind of stuck at that point. But yeah, you live and learn.
Nathan, anything you'd like to say to Don?
They keep saying they dragged you in here. I hope you don't feel like we dragged you in here to talk about a fifth place performance, but great run out there. Obviously, it didn't play out the way you hoped, but hopefully we'll see you back. Off week next week, but we'll see you back in a couple weeks.
Yep, planning to be back. Looking forward to it. And thanks for bringing me in.
Anybody you'd like to thank for the run today?
Uh, Thanks for putting me on the team, and let me run for your effort there, and bringing in a teammate. So he and I have had some pretty good racing between us, with lots of good respect. And just Holio for sponsoring this, and AARL for putting on the league, and hopefully it gets out. We get a little more some more folks to race against, but it's still fun, and a pretty good group.
Yeah, well, got some good points out of that one, and appreciate you coming up in here in the booth for this interview. And still a good run for you tonight.
Yep, overall it was good. The speed was there, other than me messing up qualifying, but overall, yeah, it was good. So plans to keep building on it.
All right, enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
That was Don Manning, fifth place run for him. Well, he fifth place finish for him. He ran good at the beginning of the race. Some pit strategy kind of caught him off guard, but that's going to round out our interviews for tonight. The race rundown. Sean Purcell, obviously with the win here tonight, picked up his second win of the season, I believe, in that number 04 Ford Mustang. Travis Rodriguez finishes second. Larry Garnes third. Kyle Purcell fourth. Don Manning fifth. Christian?
Looks like we got Jeremy Eggman going in sixth, David Hare in seventh, David Lorfano eighth, Tyrone Rowe rounding out the top 9, and Johnny May could not make it, so he will take the top 10, take his 10th place spot.
Yeah, well, that's gonna round out the race results and I guess final thoughts here. I mean, really solid, clean race from my perspective. Really enjoyed the pitch strategy aspect of it, and it was just really fun to call. Kind of a lot of mystery and what was going on, and yeah,
And definitely pitch strategy once again, like in Phoenix, very diverse, very interesting to commentate on that. We had like a couple of different strategies, and Sean and Larry's came out on top, and you know, a lot of, like we said, like we commented earlier, very clean racing here in this Holio Cornhole Series, and hopefully we can continue that momentum of the clean racing into the rest of the season. We do have an off week this next week, but throughout the rest of the season, hopefully we can keep this clean, great racing.
yeah. This was been the All In 175. We're gonna send it down to Nathan Christensen to give his final thoughts and to close it out. So everybody else enjoy your night. It's been Peter Terrio and Christian Delgado, and take it away, Nathan.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, another great race here in season. Race number 6 of the inaugural year, and our first 2-time winner. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And don't forget, this Sunday you can catch the trucks on dirt at Knoxville at with the Or Truck Series. And then next Tuesday, the Cup Cars are going to Worldwide Technology Raceway for the first time in AARL history. So join us at one of those two, and then we'll see you back in a couple weeks here on Thursday night for round 7 of the season. Thank you guys, and have a great night.